21 minutes after 10 o'clock. Sometimes you hear things in the news, and it's almost as if the news expects you to know these things. And I can't remember how many times I've heard things in the news, and I thought, well, what am I not knowing here? I never knew what the word BRCA meant. I certainly didn't think it was spelled BRCA. But if you've heard that word, then you've heard about the stories. I think Angelina Jolie was one of the famous names that that word was associated with. We're going to learn a little bit about it right now. So if you're like me and you heard it, but you didn't really know what it was, then we're going to have it explained. Lisa Schlager is on the phone. She's the Vice President of Community Affairs and Public Policy for a group called FORCE, which is an acronym which means Facing Our Risk of Cancer Empowered. She's on the phone to talk to us about why genetic testing is important for ovarian cancer patients and the BRCA gene mutation and what that is, and I believe, if I have it right, that's called BRCA, right? That's what they're calling it. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Yes, good morning, and you got it right. Sort of a quicker way to say BRCA is BRCA, and as you mentioned, BRCA does stand for breast cancer, the BR and the CA. But many people don't realize that other cancers are associated with these so-called breast cancer genes, including ovarian cancer.
So is this a relatively new discovery? That it says 47% of patients with ovarian cancer and a BRCA 1/2 mutation, maybe that's a BRCA half mutation, I don't know, have no significant family. What is that? What does it all mean?
So BRCA1 and BRCA2 are both genes within our body, and these women who have ovarian cancer and have a mutation in either the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene were at much higher risk of getting ovarian cancer. And people who do not have cancer but carry one of these mutations, we try to identify them early before they get cancer if possible, so that we can head cancer off at the pass. But once a woman has ovarian cancer, if she is found to have one of these gene mutations, there are certain things that can be done to help tailor her treatment, for instance, and to notify other family members about their risk. So it's so important, if a woman is diagnosed with ovarian cancer, that she be aware that she is supposed to get genetic counseling and testing. Every woman in our country who has ovarian cancer is eligible for genetic counseling and testing.
In your opinion, is what Angelina Jolie did and what she is encouraging others to do, is that a good idea?
I don't take Angelina Jolie as encouraging people to do what she did. I think she made the decision that was right for her. And it's very important for people to understand that one size doesn't fit all. So Angelina did what felt right for her, which was preventive surgeries to make sure that she remains healthy. Not everybody has that option, especially once you already have cancer, but there are other ways to manage risk, including increased screening, chemo prevention. They do advise women with this mutation, it is a guideline that the ovaries be removed once a woman is done having children, because we have no early detection for ovarian cancer. So unfortunately, prophylactic or preventive surgery for the ovaries is recommended. Prophylactic surgery for the breasts is a different story. We do have early detection, so it's a very personal decision. Once somebody knows that they're high risk and that they carry a mutation, that they can choose the right path, the one that feels in line with their beliefs.
So could I, as a male, pass on the BRCA gene to a daughter, even if her mother didn't have the mutated gene?
Good question.
Absolutely. In fact, I am a BRCA1 mutation carrier, and I inherited my genetic mutation from my father.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So,
yes.
So does it affect him at all? Does it affect the males with it at all?
It can. So some men with BRCA2 mutations are at increased risk of male breast cancer, but the rate of male breast cancer is relatively low compared to breast cancer in women. We do see men with these mutations who have higher rates of prostate cancer, and those cancers tend to be more aggressive. But in a lot of cases, the mutations are simply masked. They don't manifest as cancer in the man, and then it gets passed on to the daughter. So in these types of families, like my own, we didn't realize that mutation existed until my father's sister developed early onset breast cancer.
Okay.
And that put us in.
Does it? I don't know if it would influence somebody's decision whether to have kids or not. I can't imagine somebody would say, "No, let's not have kids" because of that. Is
exactly.
Are people doing that?
You know, with modern technology these days, there are many options. Some people do choose to do what's called PGD, pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, where they can go in and look at the embryos and determine which ones carry the mutation and which ones don't.
Oh, wow.
This is a relatively new procedure, and my understanding is it isn't that popular, but it is an option. Some people choose not to have children. Some people choose to adopt. But most people feel that this is manageable, and they go forward and have their families.
So, but it sounds like the good news is that because it's being studied, there are also some things that the people who carry the gene can do. You mentioned the way that Angelina Jolie did it. Who was the other pretty girl actress that also had a double mastectomy?
Oh, yeah.
From Married Had Children?
Yes,
that's show?
I can't recall her name.
But that's just one way. You say there are other ways to handle it as well.
Right. So if a woman learns that she has the mutation before she has cancer, or a man, again, their surgery is an option, but increased screening, they have a whole regimen that's recommended for people who are at increased risk, as well as what's called chemoprevention, which is taking oral drugs that help prevent cancer. Once a woman has cancer, knowing that she has that mutation can help customize her treatments. They have what's called targeted therapies these days. And especially for ovarian cancer patients, there are a new class of drugs called PARP inhibitors, which are very, very effective in women who have these BRCA mutations. So once a woman has ovarian cancer, knowing if she has one of these mutations can help determine which therapies are going to be best for her and which therapies are most effective.
And you must have had to have a therapy for the emotional side of it, because it is very scary.
Genetic counselors are really well trained at working with patients who are high risk, and that always should be the first stop for somebody who's considering genetic counseling and genetic testing. Genetic counselors are a wealth of knowledge, not only for the practical side of things, but also the emotional side of things. And they will serve as a resource to patients and their families as they go through what we call this journey of being at high risk for cancer.
Well, Lisa, thank you for sharing this with our listeners. I know that the listening audience is vast and varied, and the one thing that we always get feedback on is to get information about how they can get more information. Mm-hmm. So that's my next question, and probably my last one. Is there a website or a book?
Absolutely. Most cancer websites, especially those associated with breast and ovarian cancer, have some information about hereditary cancers these days. However, our organization, FORCE, is the leading resource for this information, and we have support groups throughout the United States. The web address is www.facingourrisk.org.
Okay,
We also have an 800 number helpline in English and Spanish for people who are interested.
Okay, the website facingourrisk.org. Lisa Schlager, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. We will take a little break and be right back.
To a joint meeting of Congress.
A big accomplishment for House Speaker John Boehner, who has said he unsuccessfully invited the past two previous popes. Also on the dais sitting behind the pontiff will be Vice President Joe Biden, who, like Boehner, is a Catholic. Francis's speech is expected to call on lawmakers to do what they can